Hi, my name is Sarah,
My name is Mark,
and we like to talk about video games.
and today we're talking about the opening of Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. Okay, so the first few seconds is just going to be dark. There we go.
Lovely choice of name there.
Yeah, Farty McFly. Yeah, great choice. So the opening area of Dark Souls 1, it's pretty linear and pretty simple. They make sure that all the messages are laid out right in a straight line, so, oh, look, now I know how to control my camera. The thing about this is that I'm only going to do things that the messages tell me I can do. So, the game is... a kick. So the game has told us that we can regular attack with RB, so now as, I'm doing this as if I were a new player.
We're already doing the violence.
We're gonna assume that I'm too stubborn to experiment with the controls. So I know how to strong attack because the game told me. I know how to dash because the game told me.
Basically, you're playing the way I play everything.
Right. And now the game has taught us how to lock on. But something that's interesting here is that these enemies are so passive. They literally are not fighting back. So you can just run up, miss, spam, not pay attention to your stamina bar.
You can be a total jerk and nobody cares.
Yep. And, it's interesting what they chose to tell us. They told us how to, do our regular attacks, how to run, and how to lock on. But they didn't tell us how to roll.
Or how to block.
They didn't tell us how to block. They didn't tell you how to open your menu yet. But they did tell you that bonfires are to heal. The funny thing, yes, they did tell you to rest at a bonfire to heal yourself, but the weird thing is, I'm not even sure if the beginning enemies can hurt you, so it seems kind of weird to introduce the healing mechanic of the bonfire, before you've even been injured. Now, like I said, they haven't told us how to roll yet, or how to block, and
there he is!
Yeah, and now your big subversion, here's the bad guy who, it was all a cakewalk a second ago, what happened?
Hello, my name is the Asylum Demon. I'll be your tutorial today.
And you see, I'm doing just absolute ass damage. But a new player might not even be noticing the health bar. They might just be rushing in to fight him, because that's how they've been programmed to play these games.
And you're dead.
And the first of many for a new player. But we're going to jump over to Dark Souls 3 now. I'm basically starting as the same kind of character, a knight. I've cut out the loading times because the loading times are a bit longer in this one.
Yeah. I love how video games... I've said this before, I'll say it again. I love that video games just sort of gave up on not having loading screens. There was this phase where they were trying to get rid of them, and then...
Yeah. So very similarly, they're putting us in a straight path and immediately telling us everything important, like strong attack, lock on, camera control, and then they immediately introduce you an enemy. But you'll see right here, look how much more aggressive this guy is. I got a lucky backstab on him, I was not intending to do that.
Being awesome without meaning to.
And look, immediately, we know how to roll now.
Yay.
So the game wants you to make sure you know how to do that as soon as possible. Whereas Dark Souls 1, they kind of intentionally are only giving you the bare minimum to walk in on that boss fight thinking, oh, everything's been easy, I can just run up and whack him. And then not knowing how to roll is a death sentence for that boss because of his huge range. You're just going to get hit.
Skeleton number 2 down.
This is important here. So the reason I zoomed in on that, you'll notice that when I picked up that item, it automatically got added to my quick bar down there. Which was going to be something I was going to point out later on, is the game is teaching you, hey, you're going to find these items and you should use them specifically against the boss fight of this area. But it's misleading because we'll see later on that we find other items and they don't get added to the quick bar. Only the Ashen Estus flask.
Watch out.
Does. Ouch. So again, I'm intentionally playing like a new player. I'm not really observing the environment that well. I'm just looking at the messages. The messages have now taught us how to heal, which is something that doesn't get introduced until after after the initial encounter with the
Right.
Asylum Demon in Dark Souls 1.
Please trust that Mark is not normally this bad at Dark Souls. Disclaimer, not this rubbish. I promise, not this rubbish.
Wow, look at that poise, though. I'm deflecting those shots like nobody's business.
Poise, your favourite thing.
So, now we're going to watch my desperate attempts to try and kick. I sped this up for you because I figured it would take too long otherwise. It is so much harder in this game to kick than it is in Dark Souls 1. I have no idea why.
Should not be this difficult to lift your leg.
So that was at 300% speed, and now we finally got it.
You can dodge out the way of that kick easily.
And the game has taught us how to parry, riposte,
Your other
block.
favourite thing.
And what I like about this area is that it uses a lot of blue tones so that you see the messages, like, immediately. Because your eyes are kind of drawn to them to make sure you know the basic controls. Or, helpful messages that you ignore.
Or that you've seen a million times.
Yeah. Ooh, look, shiny. So as a new player, you're probably just going to rush right towards that. Not even
And
thinking
not notice
about
the bigger shiny directly to your right. I wonder what happened to that unknown traveller.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And again, I'm just mashing the attack button, not a care in the world. And this is kind of like your Asylum Demon in this situation, I feel like. Because this is not something you're meant to fight at your base level. And especially if you're not paying attention to your stamina. That is one thing, though, that... I guess they don't have to, because if you're paying any sort of attention, you'll see the stamina bar going down. But they never strictly say, like, hey, this is what is used for attacking, this is what's used for rolling, and you should pay attention to it. I was just zooming in up there. I was zooming in up there to show that you can, in fact, see him up there before you walk in. Okay, so as a new player, you're just like, well, maybe I can get out of here real quickly.
Nah.
Open the door, open the door.
Nah, you ain't getting out of this one, bro.
But this is what this boss is intended to teach you, actually, is to observe your environment. And you could see that open door there in the corner. So maybe the player who is trying to escape sees that, oh, maybe I can get out that way. Oh my god, you're so slow in this game.
Well, you are wearing tons of armor. I see you've gone for a heavy build. Oh.
Yeah, well, I was picking the builds that I feel like that new characters would pick. New players would probably pick the heavy armor guy.
Except me, because I'm weird.
And now we're introduced to a bonfire healing you. Because, we were hurt pretty bad, we got to sit down, and now we're healed. Get your shield!
Sounds like a warning. Ah, there we are. One shield.
Yep.
Protection against the violence that will ensue.
Dark Souls 3 and 1 both have some pretty silly frame drops here. So now this game has introduced us to entering the menu. So now we know there's a menu, we know there's equipment, we can mess around with it. We still don't know that in Dark Souls 3. And you see now I'm like, oh, equip shield, right? So I just put it in my attack hand, and it's like, no, you idiot, you gotta put it on the left slot. I actually think the later games changed it so you can still block even if you put it in your right hand. So, you can play as, a left-handed character if you wanted. In Dark Souls 1, you have to be, a right-handed fighter.
Yeah, which is a big flaw with a lot of games, I find. It's nice to just adapt. I don't know, do left-handed people find it easier to play as characters that are left-handed? I imagine they would.
I don't know, it must have been annoying for Twilight Princess, because in Twilight Princess they switched a Link to right-handed by literally mirroring the entire game.
Yeah, but they had to do it because they didn't take into account what the controls would be, so...
Yeah. So now it just taught us how to toggle through our items. Not that we have any items to toggle through, so it's not really that useful for an introduction. It would have been nice if it was like Dark Souls 3, where we have the Estus Flask, the Ashen Estus Flask, and our starting item. It's like, now it's good to know, oh, I can swap between those with the D-pad. We also got a lucky drop there. And finally, we know how to roll now.
Yay.
See,
the
game...
did you need to know this before?
Yeah, the game intentionally withheld that because they wanted you to get your ass kicked. And let's just run right into that trap like a newbie.
Oh. Major point of Dark Souls, you're supposed to fail.
Yep. I wanted to parry him so bad there, Sarah, but I needed to look bad. Oh, it's locked. What do I do? So what's nice here is that you turn back and you're immediately drawn to the darkness of the broken wall, because the rest of it's all bright in comparison. So you walk in there, and then you're introduced to your little NPC fellow. And this is something that the beginning of Dark Souls 3 doesn't do the same. I wouldn't say it's bad, but they don't introduce you to NPCs immediately. They don't show you that, hey, there are non-hostile individuals here.
Mm.
And what's nice is that they intentionally have him like laying on his back, weakened, because they don't want you to run up and just slap him, you know? He gave us our Sunny D, so now we can start healing.
So Sunny D. Farewell, friend. Thank you for the assist. He's such a sad character.
He is. He had a lot more in the original game, but they cut a lot of it for some reason.
Yeah, I've been watching Vati videos. I've probably pronounced that completely wrong, and he goes a lot into those files, and I don't think there's a story in this game that isn't completely
I'm
tragic.
Sorry. Look how much easier it was to kick there. Did you see how I first try?
You're a regular karate champ.
Oh,
let's go kill that demon.
That's another thing I want you to pay attention. Did you see how he just hit me, and I just fought right through it, didn't get staggered?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's poise in this game, so like if you wear heavy armor, you can do attacks without getting interrupted. We'll notice that Dark Souls 3 pretends like it does.
You'll get your poise back, I'm sure, at some point. Hopefully. I really hope you get poise back.
Now the game is teaching us how to parry, which as a new player you're probably going to do this. And be like, why didn't it work?
Look, you're starting to do the YMCA.
So instead you just backstab him.
The first time one of them's gotten back up. Oh.
Yeah, and you see, like, the game was saying, like, oh, you can backstab them, you can parry them. And now we're going to go back to 3 for a little bit here. Boop. So we've died against... Yep. I'm going to zoom past this run back. But we got killed by that crystal lizard, so now maybe the player's thinking, I'm not strong enough to handle that yet. I'm just going to move on.
Potentially they won't, though. I mean, the Undead Asylum Demon was something you were meant to go back to.
But it was also much more clear that that was the only path forward, whereas this kind of leads your eye this way, towards this beautiful landscape. Just beautiful.
It's so gorgeous.
And if this was day 1, the game would crash right here as we approach the bonfire, but... And rest at bonfire, restore your HP. So basically, we know how to do everything now, as far as controls are concerned. The only thing the game hasn't taught us is how to open your menu, which is going to come back to bite us, with what I wanted to explain in this video, but ended up failing. And I'm just going to try and parry him like a newbie. Oh, look at that poise. Wow.
Well, at least the backstab still works.
Yes, it does. So we're just fighting our way down. And I like how, your eye is just guided by those mountains to go towards the boss fight. It's pretty cool.
It's such a different opening as well to the original game. Just panoramically, that is absolutely gorgeous, whereas the first one, you're in a locked room.
Yeah. And, like, the area is very blue, so they use these candles to kind of, again, guide your eye. Like, the orange light is made to show you helpful messages. It's made to guide you towards the boss fight.
It's one of the few points of colour in any of the games, to be honest. I mean, there is colour, but nothing... Excuse me, you don't mind if we take that, do you? Thanks.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Oh,
wait.
He does
he's
mind.
coming to life. And now we're introduced to the Eudics. So, this player is going to do a little bit better against this guy than Dark Souls 1 because he knows how to roll, he knows how to block, or she. They know how to heal. So, you know, they have a little bit more experience with this. And the enemies have been aggressive enough where, like, you actually have had to need to block. You saw I was taking damage on the way here. The only thing they really haven't been taught is how to control your stamina, which ends up, you know, being the fatal flaw with this player. They're gonna... Spoilers, they're not gonna make it through this.
They run out of energy and get smooshed by a massive oil slick monster made of worms.
And that was definitely the surprise of that area. That's your expectations being subverted there, is that, you know, you're made to fight a very patient enemy who's got very wide swings that give you a lot of time to dodge, and then just as you're getting used to it, he transforms into a giant slime dinosaur. Yeah. Which is important, though.
This is easy, I understand what's going on here, and then, oh my god! Why?
It's important, though, because it's forcing you to learn different speeds of combat. You know, first you're fighting this slow, intelligent creature that then becomes a kind of wild beast. And you can definitely see the difference in how they fight in seconds.
And narrative-wise, there's the mystery introduced as well. The what the heck is going on in this world aspect.
I had never seen this attack before.
Wow.
I was like, oh my god, that's awesome.
I wish you could do that as character.
I wonder if you can make his spear. You know, he doesn't drop a soul item, but I don't know.
This game is magnificent. I'm sorry, can I just say that? It's just absolutely...
Oh, it's beautiful.
The music is helping.
Yes, the music is fantastic.
Oh, that hurt her.
Well, now she knows, hey, let's back off while he's transforming here. And hey, we got a lucky stagger on him, so now we know enemies have like a break point that if you hit them enough, they fall over and you kind of get this little bonus damage on them. Now I got unlucky there. He actually... Enemies in this game can attack you even when you're on the ground with certain attacks.
Oh!
So he was able to slam into me, and then when I tried to get up and recover, just boom, dead. And now let's go back to Dark Souls 1, where things are going to go a little bit more our way. So we've been introduced to plunging attacks here, which immediately half his health gone. Half his health gone. And now, like, a new player is just going to be like, alright, well, let's just attack him. Like, why even bother? Like, I know to have my shield up. Alright, well, I blocked his attack. He's at a fourth of his health. I've been hit once. I'm able to take about 5 hits before he kills me.
Right.
And we can heal.
You hardly need to use the shield.
And that's it, he's dead.
Bye-bye, demon.
Yeah, so
you're fired.
So you definitely get this triumphant moment. You know, the game's trying to build up your expectations. It was very easy getting to him, then very hard getting introduced to him, and then you fight your way through the area, get your weapons, and all of a sudden he's super easy again.
And thus begins the endless patterns, lulling you into a false sense of security, scaring the life out of you, lulling you into victory again.
Yeah, because then you go back to the rest of the game, and it's hard as shit, and it kicks your ass. So this is interesting, I noticed, and again, why I thought they were trying to make you notice something. The bonfire intentionally reloads you in a way where you can see this little path down here. Like, you're facing this direction, so you're like, oh, hey, there's other areas I can explore. So a new player can, after dying to the Eudix, which they might, can be like, oh, there's other areas. And now we see I pick up these fire bombs, which I thought the game wanted you to pick up, put in your quick bar, and use on him. It didn't get added to our quick bar. Oh. That's why I zoomed in there. You'll notice I zoomed in on that, and it was just like nothing there. And again, the game hasn't taught us... The game hasn't taught us how to go into our inventory, so the player picks those up and has no idea that they have them. The only reason we have any items other than the Estus flasks is because I picked them to start with. And now for disappointment.
Uh-oh. Wild dashing jump. Eep. Oh.
Wah, wah.
He's dead.
I wanted that item.
Never
Plunging
mind.
attack. So I ended up picking the black fire bombs to start with, just in case this happened. So that we can still use them on the boss fight here. But I was like, I mean, I understand, because most players are going to experiment, and they're probably going to find the menu anyway. But I just thought that would have been a good opportunity to be like, hey, you have an equipment screen, equip it. Or do what the Ashen Flask did and add it to my hotbar automatically.
Right. I mean, it's possible that 3 just assumed people would have played the previous games, and therefore knew the logic of a menu. But at the same time, it does kind of get my goat when people don't do that, because sometimes people don't play games in order, you know? Sometimes
true, but at the same time, then I feel like why even have these messages going around? The messages are here for new players, so we need to go into this with the idea that the player has no idea what this game is like.
Mm-hmm.
So now they've fought him 2 times. They know what to expect, and they've quote unquote picked up the item that they can use against him, being the fire bombs. So in our case, we're going to use the black fire bombs to help us.
Okay. Don't die.
But we're going to see that, once again, I was wrong about something. Because later on in the game, you fight enemies like this guy, and you've seen them. I've shown you those guys.
Yes.
And they're weak to fire. Like, fire causes them to freak out. So I thought, hey, that must apply to him, right? It doesn't.
It didn't.
So I'm a little confused, because I feel like that would have been a good way to show players, hey, enemies have elemental weaknesses. And the other ones are weak to fire, but he isn't. So it's just a weird thing. Like I thought it would have been a good opportunity for that, but the game doesn't follow through with it. So like my whole basis for this video ended up being wrong.
Well, on the plus side, Grundy is dead.
Yep. Nonetheless, our hero has succeeded.
Well done, lady. Ember restored.
Now both of our heroes can journey forth to Firelink Shrine and begin their awful, awful journey ahead.
Or should we say back to Firelink Shrine?
Yep. Spoilers. And right here. Hold on. Open menu. Oh, thanks.
Now you tell me.
Useless.
That was a waste of a firebomb, dude.
I wanted to see if it would blow up down there.
Oh. You're gonna regret wasting those firebombs. Well done. We're very proud of you.
and that's it. So overall, they both do a really good job, I think, of setting up the atmosphere of the game. But I think 3 has a bigger focus on immediately learning the actual core mechanics. It really forces you to learn it to move on. Whereas Dark Souls 1 is trying to prove a point in having you not learn them, kind of cakewalk your way through the boss once you get the right equipment,
right,
and then get to the main game and find that you really do need to learn this shit, and it's going to kick your ass.
But the overall point of the 2 games was different. I mean, if you look at them as like a narrative progression of 3 acts instead of as 3 separate games, by the 3rd act, you know what you're doing, and you have to provide certain information so everybody doesn't mess up horrendously too many times and get fed up and stop playing. But the entire point was completely different. The first game was very strongly advertised on how difficult it was. And whereas by the 3rd point, yeah, we get that.
Yeah, this one's more of a finale. And also, it's definitely more important to learn the mechanics immediately, because Dark Souls 3 is a lot quicker. Like, even just looking at the videos, like, my character was moving so much faster in 3 than they were in 1. So I think the gameplay changes for those who didn't play Bloodborne. It was definitely important for even veteran players to be like, hey, we've changed things up. There's an increase in speed, there's an increase in aggression, so make sure that you
need to pay attention to these things, dude.
Yeah, definitely.